It's given me all these really weird things. Oh. Yeah, I think we are. I don't know. Let's see. We are.
Oh, good. I wonder how long they've been watching us do that.
But what I would like to say to everybody is Zoom is doing this weird thing today. So we get in, then we couldn't get in, then it was glitching out, then it was turning back on. And I have problems with technology. I own it, but I'm not owning this one. I'm not. So welcome. Christine Lackey, Untangled Mom. I need a drink. This is not vodka. It should be at this point. Hold. Oh my God. But anyhow, this week is a conversation about body image, and right now I'm thinking about my overall image, and it's not looking good right now. I just need to let it go. Which reminds me, by the way, that singing part that I just did reminded me of the story of you singing in the woods with Riley. Anyhow,
yeah.
The Untangled Mom. This week's conversation is body image. Get clear, get real, get confident. And over here is a dear, dear friend of mine, Kimberly Langsfeld Cotton. We have a very interesting background together. Kimmy worked with me in a company that I had for about 10 years, where the company was focused on teaching emotional wellness and cellular healing, going in and accessing stored cell memories and clearing them out. And we traveled all around the United States and Canada teaching this work. Well, I got pregnant and needed to keep working because I wanted to keep moving and shaping and doing everything. And my ex-husband and I decided to bring our office into our home. So in our basement, we probably at one point had 7 of us working down there. Kimmy is a journey practitioner, went through the work with us and came on board to almost like co-parent our daughter. And because I don't want to say she was a nanny, because you were so much more than a nanny. She literally basically co-parented and co-worked with me. So as we would go on the travel, we would be through airports with like these big carts, 450-pound bags on the carts, and Kimmy would have my daughter sitting on top, racing through, keeping her entertained while we're trying to figure it all out. And then when we get to these events, what we did so beautifully, I think, is we would take. So sometimes I worked an event and Kimmy would take my daughter, and sometimes she worked the event and I took my daughter, and we played tag team a lot. And I was really fortunate because she came into our lives looking at herself and recognizing she wanted to be happy and wanted conscious conversation and wanted to talk about, well, how are we doing all this stuff together, right? And before I introduce you, I just have to tell you the story. So we were in Lake Tahoe and we were doing an event, and I was working, and Kimmy takes my daughter, who was 2, 3?
Oh, 2.5, 3, yeah, something like that.
And they go hiking. And the next day she goes, let me show you where we went hiking. I was like, okay. So we're all walking out there, and Kimmy starts to sing the song from
Pocahontas.
What was that song? What was that song?
Colors of the Wind.
So she starts singing Colors of the Wind as we are hiking. And what did I do?
You cried.
I cried so much. I was just like, oh my gosh, how blessed are we to have somebody so wonderful in our lives to give us a moment like this of sharing, like just this sharing of herself, right? And I'm looking at this young woman with my child, I have such goosebumps right now, and I'll cry again, feeling so blessed that she feels so comfortable in her own skin to sing unabashedly and share herself with us so much. And I was just like, whoa, what a blessing. Now time has gone by. Kimmy's now married, has 2 of her own children, a 5-year-old Ben a 5-year-old Ben,
4-year-old Ben.
and Ember's
3.
3, 12 months and 4 days apart. Think about it. By the way, we've stayed in touch, but recently we were talking a little bit more. And I had brought up this issue of body image, and Kim sent me this note back. And I have to say, once again, I think people are a certain way, right? I'm like, this is the most confident woman that I know in her body. I've never known anybody more confident than her. And she's like, yeah, so I've got these issues and I'm trying to look at, let's see, thinking a ton about my body image these days. And I was like, whoa, okay, then we're starting with you. So Kimmy, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, like you said, I'm a mom of 2. I do feel like karma had something to do with it because my mom also had 2 babies back to back, me and my sister. And so it's just like you want to see what this is like? I'll show you a little bit about this. But before I was a mom, I was, I was a traveler and a seeker of truth. And then motherhood came, and it was a game changer because my whole world was about me and what I wanted and everything that made me happy. And then motherhood hit in, and I was shaken. I really was. Like with the first one, it was okay. But then like 1 year later, I popped out another one, and it was just like, I was just overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed with caring for everybody else except for me, because when you have a baby that is 1 year old and then you have a brand new baby come into the world and you have to care for both of them simultaneously, you have 0 sleep, you have 0 time to yourself. My husband was working 16-hour days to make up for my lost income. And I mean, it was intense. It was so intense. And it also, right now I'm waitressing, and it's clearly not a passion of mine. And it's not something that I want to do with my life, but that's where I'm at right now. And that's how I'm providing for my family right now is doing that work. And you do feel like you sacrifice so much, your body, your soul, your passions, you sacrifice that for your family. Would I do it again? Absolutely. 100% I would do it again. But it's hard. You have moments where you look back and you're like, I just wish I appreciated my body that I had when I had it, because I had such a beautiful, beautiful body. And there's very few moments in that life that I thought I felt good in that body, and now I have a different body, and this body brought on 2 beautiful babies, and I'm even more self-conscious about it, because there's things that weren't there before. So it's just different. It's different to be here in motherhood.
Yeah. So you say you would do it again. Why? Like if you had this life before of like this freedom, like you singing on the mountainside with my daughter, right? And I remember how comfortable you were in your body. And I get what you're saying, this lack of appreciation of your body. I think when we're younger, we have a way of lack of appreciation of life because we're just so in the moment of trying to get to where we think we're trying to get to, right? And I do think that's a big part. We just keep thinking about where we're not and where we're supposed to be. And I'm wondering, like, is that still playing out now? Same thing, where I'm not and where I'm supposed to be, that might be preventing you a bit from, I don't know, taking the time to appreciate your body more for yes, what it has offered you, but also for, I don't know, little extras that it's given you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's why I wrote to you, Chris, is because when you said you were going to talk about body image, I mean, this has always been a huge passion of mine is getting clear with my body and getting in touch with my body, because I'm very much a body person, you know, everything comes through my body. And that's why I wrote to you, is because I think I even said, like, at what age am I going to be comfortable in this body? You know, at what age is there a magic number out there that says, okay, you know what, feel good in that body? But yeah, I'm holding on to some old shit that has been in my life the entire time, when I had that beautiful young body that had no flaws, and I still thought it had flaws. And now I'm bringing that into this body. And there has to be a point where, and maybe not, maybe it's just like, maybe you have to recognize something. Maybe you have to get in touch with yourself a little more. I don't know what it is, but I'm not there yet, you know, and I'm not comfortable in this body. And I wasn't comfortable in it before. So it's nothing new, you know,
yeah. And I think that's for most women, I think, would say, I've never been comfortable in my body, which is the first problem, right? And the second part is, how do we start getting comfortable in our body? And you had said something, you said, I look at other moms and women who are larger, and I think they're sexy and voluptuous.
Yeah.
They can be sexy and voluptuous, but you can't be.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
So when you look at another woman and you're like, wow, she's sexy and voluptuous, what are you seeing in them that's different than what you see in you?
I don't know. I don't know if it's the way that they carry themselves. I'm sure that has a lot to do with it, because when you feel good on the inside, it shows on the outside, you know? And I really do feel like when a woman is walking around and they're owning that, and they're like, this is it. This is what you get, you know? That's sexy. That's sexy. It doesn't matter what size you are. True. It's nice, you know? It's really nice. Whether you're really skinny or you're really big and voluptuous, that is the key, you know?
I always tell a story. When I was growing up, I was a teenager, and we would go to like the you know, the local pool. There was this woman who was short. She was probably about, and please don't take offense when I say she was shorter in stature. She was like probably about 4'10", right? But her butt was quite large and chunky, and so was her belly. And she wore these tiny little bikinis, walked around the pool in heels. And I remember the first time I saw her, I was like, what is she thinking? Wow, what is she? Wow, she must be thinking she's pretty great. The longer I just sat there, and I was just like, whoa, I wish I had that. That looks fabulous. And the truth is, she did look fabulous because of how she felt inside her body. And yesterday, when I started the introduction, I talked about struggling with an eating disorder for myself and having body image issues until I got pregnant. And it was this moment in time when I got pregnant and I had large, beautiful boobs. It's not that I would never want size E boobs today. I just wouldn't. Being small is just fine with me. But at that time, to have, especially to go from an A to double E, right? I was all belly. So I gained 25 pounds with Riley. I was all belly and boobs. And I'm like, this is the most remarkable thing I have ever seen. And it was just this stepping into a moment of appreciation and being with what is, being with the truth of what my body looked like and was offering, that was like this, oh, this feels good. This is right. You know, and the work that we've done with the journey, you know, we talk about emotions like fear, right? What so many of us do is we try to fight the fear or fix the fear, make the fear wrong. And what we've learned and what we do with people is try and face the fear, right? Because, I mean, if we try to face the fear, what happens?
Well, you see into it, you see the truth of it, which is that there's really nothing to be afraid of. There's beauty in that.
Mhm.
See that look, guys? That's the Christine look. uh, so your introduction yesterday. So you read my my email, and I watched that, and I have to say that I cried. I cried, and I didn't cry when I wrote it. I cried when I heard it,
Yes.
and I heard somebody else reading it, because that was rough. That's a hard thing to hear yourself say about yourself. You know, what was that?
What was rough about
Hmm?
it? What was rough about it?
Just that I feel like I have these ideas of the woman I want to be, the woman I want to become, and a woman that's not confident in her body is not a woman that I ever envisioned myself to be. You know, and to hear those words about what I said, about how I'm not confident in my body, and especially about how I don't want to portray it onto my children. I don't want this body image stuff to be reflected onto them. It was sad. You know, it was like me hearing my friend tell me that. I would cry if my friend told me that, you know, and it wasn't until you told me what I just told you that I wept, you know, I cried.
What's sad about it exactly for you?
Just that I'm not there yet, you know, that I'm not there and that I want to be there, you know.
It's an interesting thing because you're saying, gosh, you know, I wish I would have appreciated my how beautiful
Mhm. I know.
and you're saying I'm just still not quite there yet. So
Yeah.
it's this, when are you going to choose to be in alignment with yourself as opposed to, I'm not the woman I want to be. Who the hell do you want to be? What do
Mhm.
you want to be? What's different about who the hell you want to be? I'm listening.
I guess it's just a state of mind. It's I don't know, accepting, you know, accepting what is and loving what is rather than pushing it away all the time.
So what would happen? Like seriously, like how would it feel? You know, if you said, okay, if I were to love what is and not want for anything different, what would happen to you?
What would happen to me?
Well, what would happen for you? How would you feel? What would happen?
Um, I would just not have to think constantly about what I look like or what other people may be seeing, and um yeah, that's it. I just wouldn't have to worry about people judging me, you know, and me judging myself, more importantly. But you know, like, I mean, I told you, I think I told you anyway, and our time together is like, I had eating disorders as well growing up. My sister, she was very overweight. So I grew up with that, and I also grew up with my mom, who is on so many diets, everything. I mean, I can't even remember a time that she wasn't on a diet. And you know, I love her to bits, and she was so young when she had us, and but it was diet after diet after diet, and putting Melissa on diet after diet after diet. And you know, and everyone would always call me Skinny Minnie. Oh, there's Skinny Minnie, there's Skinny Minnie, you know. So there was always this. And I saw how my sister was like abused at school. She was abused, and I would abuse her at home. Like if I ever wanted to like poke her with a knife and get her real good, I'd call her fat, because I knew that that's where I'd get her good. But I grew up in that environment where everything
Roll
was
it
about
a little bit, Kimmy.
what?
And you were like, I wanted to get her, I would do that.
Yeah.
How does that feel in your body?
Awful. It feels so bad.
What is that?
So much regret. Because I love my sister so much. And it's I've apologized to her for this, but it still hurts me to know that I hurt her so bad, and that I cemented everything that she already thought about herself, every bad thing she ever thought about herself when she was so young. I cemented that for her over and over and over again. I hurt somebody that I love so much, and I'm carrying that obviously with me.
Say, what are you gaining from carrying this? Because you're gaining something, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be carrying it any longer.
I don't know what I'm gaining from.
Holding on to the regret and the pain. You're gaining something, right?
Yeah, it must be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe fear that I could possibly damage somebody else that bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Keeping that regret with me keeps me from being cruel to other people in that way.
Does it? Because it sounds like in a way you're being cruel to yourself instead.
I was just about to say it. Yeah. I was just about to say that, but I'm not nice to myself on most days.
Mm-hmm. So you learned, right?
What?
You learned that somewhere.
I learned what? I'm sorry.
You learned that behavior from somewhere. So you learned how to, dig that needle in. I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna Achilles heel. I'm gonna dig it in.
Yeah.
Right.
Likely. Yeah.
And it is we're talking about two things here. We're talking about being a mom, and we're talking about how we feel in our body. We're also talking about being a mom and what we pass on to our kids. Okay. You just brought up really important. One is, our kids, they don't know how to communicate with each other. They don't. They just but the style of communication that they have, they learn generally from us or the people that they're primarily around. Okay. Part of our job is to teach our children. It's not okay.
Yeah.
I just want to point out to you, you speak that way hurts people. I want to point out to you, we are a team to take care of each other. That's not okay. I want to point out to you how to communicate. Like, part of our parenting is to help our kids learn how to communicate with each other. All the work that we've done with the journey, oftentimes, so the people who don't know, we'll sit down with somebody and we go into a little emotion, and based on the you want to, a lot of times this is from because there was something that happened with your parents. Well, I don't know about you, Kimmy, but so many of the people I relate to the relationship because they spent so much time with their siblings, and oftentimes they will say to me, "I wish somebody would have taught me how to be different with me. I wish somebody would have given me better words. I wish my dad would have said, please don't here. I didn't know. I wish that how I had some anger and things, and I took it to my sister or brother. I wish somebody not to, because what happens is we then walk around. I mean, it can happen so young, but what we don't realize is we are such amazing. We feel what that is. And it might not impact us in the moment, but the regret follows us. And then we have a tendency of holding on to memory and that regret and that fear and that shame. And what does it do to your body?
What does it do to your body?
Mhm.
Brings you down.
You feel sexy.
Stresses you out. No, it does not feel sexy. Nope. Mm-mm.
And I wonder too, Kim, because fear is such a massive component in this. It's the fear of what if I and feel this out with me. I could be off on it. Your sister was larger. People bullied her, even you. Is there a fear? What if it becomes me?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I get over it. What's going to happen to me?
Mm-hmm.
So is there a hypervigilance maybe of, oh my God, look at what that did?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, I really do feel like my bulimia in high school was that exactly. I was terrified to be fat. I was terrified to be ridiculed for being fat. And so that's how I resorted to making sure that I would never be large.
Yeah.
Because I did not want to face that ridicule that I saw my sister face, and constantly people judging her, people that love her, constantly judging her because of her body. And she was so young, obviously we both were, but yeah, that was huge. It still is huge.
Your point is something I think is the most important part of this conversation, and I touched on it yesterday, and I said I'm going to keep coming back to belonging. Okay, belonging is everything. And if you're a child and if your family you love your sister, and might be making a couple comments. And the perception is not loved the way that she is. Well, they don't want her the way that she is.
Mm.
Change in order for them to want her. And this is where that fear starts, right? So has her own story and her own past and her own how she took it on. And from what I'm hearing, sort of like this, oh. And then what happens to a lot of kids when they hear the comments being made from the family members, what happens is they start taking belong. Take on their belief system, they'll want to belong there. But now we're pushing my sister out, and it's this it's like a double bind, and it's confusing, right? Yeah. And I said yesterday, I was saying by what I thought was lovely. When the seed of fear is planted, so there was a seed of fear. If I get large, I will be. If I get the seed of fear, if I get large, my family. If I get large, they're gonna talk bad about me, and they want. That seed then grows the tree of anxiety, which makes all the time. Oh, what is that? What is that? And the fruit of is. And when we walk around with stress, the research has shown that the more stress you have, the more acidic your body is. The more acidic your body is, and I think this is like. So your body is so brilliant that what it will do is what drinking stress, drinking acidity, or eating acidity by not having a good diet, feeling stress, which is acidic, your body will then start to pull the stress and acidity away from your inner organs so it doesn't hurt your inner organs. Oftentimes there can be people who really well, but they're so emotional stress, which creates acidity, stiffiness. Because your body's so that brilliant.
That's crazy.
I know, isn't it so cool?
Yeah.
It's so cool because we all have our own story. We all have our own body. We all are going to have a different impact on what happens to this body and why, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm hearing from you is you're so hurt in that old story in your home. When my sister gets thin enough, she will become that, and they will love her.
Mm.
When I become this woman, I will be loved.
Mm-hmm.
And what would it feel like today to allow the love that's really to come in instead of waiting to be, but to recognize, oh, there's a fear.
Mm.
And if I couldn't be in this fear, I let my children live. I let my, oh, I heard something. I let my,
Mm.
how would it make me feel in my own body? What would be here?
I think it would alleviate a lot of issues that like I'm very quick to anger, you know. I think that if I could just embrace myself as is, and I mean, how much stress would I relieve if I could just release that? And how much calmer could I be with my children if that stress was lifted, you know? And so that's what it would be. It would be life changing. It really would.
And you're naming another core thing I hear happen all the time. So moms could be like, I love my kids, but why am I being so angry?
Yeah.
Why am I losing it? Well, how do you feel about you?
What was that?
How do you feel about you? Well, how do you feel about yourself? Because
Yeah.
if you're content in you, then you're content, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would a daily practice, what with all the work you know,
Yeah.
all the work you know, and this realization of, hey, what if, we're just saying, what if I have this fear that if I get larger, I won't be loved. I have this fear that if I don't become the perfect size, I just won't be loved.
Mm.
With that awareness, what do you do with it, Kim?
You look at it. I mean, I feel like, so with all that we know through the journey, I feel like I need to look at things deeper and I need to start forgiving things. I mean, clearly I didn't realize I had that much guilt and regret following me until it was mentioned, because who wants to look at that old shit, right? But obviously I do need to revisit that for sure. And as far as like a daily practice, I need to start looking in that mirror a little deeper, you know. I really do, because there's never seems like there's enough time in the day to take those moments to honor yourself, you know. And I think that's really important, and I don't do it ever.
What would that look like, to look in the mirror deeper and honor yourself?
I mean, for me, because I have done it, it looks like me actually physically looking at myself in the mirror, looking deep into my eyes, and just seeing the person that is there, you know, seeing everything that's good about me, everything that is bad about me, and just honoring it and letting it be there, and letting it just looking back at me, you know.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
It's bad about you. That wasn't interesting. Like what?
Well, like I said, I am quick to anger.
Okay,
which
so
is very,
we're not talking about physically bad.
no. I mean, yeah, I mean, no, I wasn't talking about physically bad. I was just talking about like my not so bright and sunny dispositions that most people know me for.
So one of the bad things would be I'm quick to look in the mirror. I'm quick to anger. Then what?
I don't know.
When you know
I'm
that moment, then what? When you know, when you okay, I'm here with me. I am looking at me, and I have this thing that I do where I am quick to anger.
Yeah.
Now what, Kimmy?
Look deeper. Why am I quick to anger? When have I last felt this way? To be quick to react. And then find the peace in that. You know, I know doing this work, if you look deep enough, there's a peace in it. And I'll be honest, I haven't done the work in a long time. In a long time. But I do remember that feeling of looking deep into ugly things and finding real beautiful thing.
Well, and sort of a side note, I don't believe you have to do the journey we're talking about in order to get there.
I don't either.
I do believe that it is when there's a saying, Terry Real, who's a teacher that I follow and practice with, he will always say, if you can name and I do believe once we start naming it, it's not that we name it or change it. It's not that. If we name it, we can start seeing it, and we can start telling the truth about it. And when we can start telling the truth about it, we're like, am I an angry person? No. Quick to anger. Yeah. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and when I wind this camera back, what I'm recognizing is I carry a lot of guilt and shame about some behavior I may have had. I carry fear of who I am not. That's where the shit comes from.
Yeah.
That's where the anger comes from. And by the way, that's where maybe if I have inflammation on my body from. That's also where I might be eating when I drinking when I don't want to. It's also where I'm at a place of discomfort in my body with my body because I'm having discomfort in my body because what I'm holding on to. That woman walking across the pool deck with her big old ass and her high heel shoes. That woman wasn't holding on to anything. She was just like, woo! I'm here and I'm alive and I feel good. And I'm like, yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, the thing that I realized too, so how do we do this where we're not passing this shit on? You know what? When you get out of the shower and you're naked, turn some damn music on and move and your butt. And if it wiggles, you know what you're gonna get? Some kids going, oh my God, look at my mom's butt, she's wiggling, you know, right? And it's just like, and I have to, it's the most fascinating thing. Like I got out of the shower the other night and my boyfriend's 5-year-old walked and she goes, I never noticed how beautiful you are. And I was like, why, thank you. You know, she's very blonde, right? So she's like, you got that black hair that's different than mine, but you know, sort of beautiful. I'm like, I'll take it. But there was something in the moment that I allowed her to say what she was seeing. It was, I wasn't thinking about, I wasn't thinking about. I just taken a nice long hot shower. I was feeling really comfortable and happy. And she saw the truth of who I am.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Anything else. And if there's anything I could stress most, saying, and I love the saying too. Who said it? But it's energy begets energy.
Mhm.
Energy I had in that moment was the energy I received in response.
Right.
Energy you hold in your body with your children. It's the energy that not only are you giving to them, but you're going to receive in response. And by the way, with your significant other. Oh.
Mm. Oh.
Which, I was talking to an older client of mine yesterday who's been married for 5 years, and we're the whole orgasm thing, which we'll get to at another time. And she said, the thing that I've recognized the most is the more self-conscious I've gotten in my body, the less orgasmic I've been, and the less I'm toward my husband thinking about things all the time and what might be negative and what might be wrong or what might not be, as opposed to here I am.
Mm.
And that's the greatest gift that we can give ourselves.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I invite you, Miss Kimmy, to go to that memory of us walking through the woods and singing that song. And how did it make you feel?
Good. Christine, I think about that memory from time to time, and it was one of my favorite memories. And I think it was one of my favorite memories because you allowed me to be seen, and you recognized me. And I remember I was starting to trail off, and you're like, no, Kimmy, keep going. And I just belted in that moment. And you allowed it. You allowed that moment to happen. And it was like one of those moments where you're just seen, and I'm kind of like an introvert, I don't really like to be seen too much, but sometimes I want to be seen. And in that moment you saw me, and I wanted you to see me, and you did. And it was one of those memories that I will carry with me forever. And it lifts me up. It does.
And again, what it boils down to is the truth of who we are, not anything else. And the power of that, and the connection to it. And I always share with parents, see your kids, find the beauty in them every day. I don't care what they're doing. Find that moment where you stop and you pause and you go, oh my gosh, not the bullshit stuff, made up stuff like I'm doing something every day to say to my child. I don't mean that. I'm to God truth. Like, oh my gosh, like I just love watching you do that. Are you gone?
No, I don't know.
Well, we'll finish it up because I don't know what happened. It could be our Zoom again, but I'm gonna say to him that part of you from that day, you have got to visit with her every day.
Okay, I will.
Instead of waiting for this woman who you want to become, you have to trust the fact that that is who you are already. Just keep remembering the truth of her and going back into you. I didn't do anything other than see you. So start seeing yourself and letting yourself be the truth of who you are.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you more.
Zoom has been so weird today.
It is so weird.
I didn't touch anything. Did you touch anything?
No, it told me that my battery is low, and I guess that turned me off. So, yeah.
You want to stay turned on.
Absolutely, I do.
I will let you go, and thank you again for your time and your honesty and your vulnerability. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you so much.
Tomorrow, I will be interviewing an old friend of mine, Kirsten Herzig, who we've known each other for a long time. Our daughters are teenagers together. I think we do a good job at helping each other stay pretty right on. If I have questions about stuff, I'll go to her. And I think we're pretty good at telling each other the truth of what our personal opinions are. We don't feel the need to take it on, but having that sounding board is awesome. And she's going to share with us some of the limiting belief systems that she took on too, from a mom who's just trying to help, just like all of us, right? So if you can join us tomorrow at 2 Mountain Time, that would be great. I hope you got something from this. It's a really beautiful conversation. And the more stories we hear and the more we share, the more we heal. We just do. If you have any questions for me about this interview, this time, or anything that up in you, please text me Christine, Kristine at untangledmom.com, or you could message me. Alrighty, Kimmy, I know you're there. I could hear you. Love you. Bye.